Hi, this is Dom Celentano, Food and Beverage Guide at About.com. Today we're going to talk a little bit about farmers markets. Everybody who's a food entrepreneur knows the most difficult aspect is getting your product on the shelf. Farmers markets are a great way to bypass that for a short time to get your product onto the consumer plate. I'm out here in Vail, Colorado, and we're visiting the Vail Farmers Market. There are a whole series of food entrepreneurs who have products that can be on the shelf but are using the Vail Farmers Market as a way to sample new customers, get trial, and hopefully get their product onto the shelf at some point. So let's go visit some of these vendors to give you a flavor for the breadth and the width of products that are available here at the Vail Farmers Market.
All right, here's one vendor. It's called Pasta More, and I guess their claim to fame is they make a line of pastas that have olive oil in it and fresh herbs. And they're here at the Vail Farmers Market. They also make a whole line of dipping sauces as well. So this is a good example of a local vendor getting out of the kitchen and getting onto the consumer's plate directly. This is Loredana's, and they make a whole line of marinated cheeses. Some of these look awfully good. In addition to that, they also have some interesting vinaigrettes as well, which you can see over here. And one of the things that I noticed was that they are using, look at this, a QR code, which we've written quite a bit about. So something to consider if you're a small food business to engage your customers more. A little taste of Hawaii here in Vail Hawaiian Crispy Wafers. And here is the product that's here. Very interesting looking, different types of flavors. And one of the proprietors, the grandfather's recipe. So these are all good. I had some samples before. They're very good. So another interesting way to get your product onto the consumer's plate. And then here's a cookie company, Mini Beasley's Cookie Company. And they make interesting products, very gift oriented in these beautiful tins. As you can see here, all different flavors, which I had some samples which are awfully good. So if you're a baker, and here you go, very nice banner, getting a lot of attention. So if you have a bakery and you're looking to get product into people's plates, or more importantly, into their mouth, here's another great example of a farmer's market for product. Now, some things at the farmer's market don't necessarily compute back to retail. So here's an example of a product. It's called beaver taters. Kind of an interesting product. Smells really good. And lots of people, oh look, samples. We have consumers sampling the product. And this company does a lot of event business. So they're at farmers markets and races and all kinds of other things. So another interesting way to get into the food business. Beaver taters. So if you think the yogurt market is way too competitive for you to get into, here's a very small artisan vendor here called Nosa, and they have a line of really cool specialty yogurts. And this is the package. They actually have a really cool looking package here. Let me see if I can pick one up here. As you can see, very nice. And there's the front. Let's see if we can get this up. It says Aussie Culture and Colorado Fresh. So interesting positioning here on a product that potentially could be a niche product for a food entrepreneur. If you think beef jerky is all the same, this is Buffalo Elk beef. And they make a whole variety of beef jerkies. And here's some of their products here. Very well packaged for a farmer's market. And they sell a lot of farmers markets. They have some stores that they sell into as well as wholesale. And they seem to be doing a pretty good business here. They have all different kinds of flavors. I'm not particularly a fan of beef jerky, but that's fine. A lot of people like it. So local beef jerky from Gourmet Jerky. Okay, and if you like candy, toffee in particular, we just stopped by Ruth's Toffee. Very interesting. I had some samples before, and I'm just going to try not to have more samples again. So, interesting marketing here. They don't sell locally here, but they do sell in other stores. 5-pound box if you're really, really hungry. So, candy at the farmer's market. Ruth's Toffee.
So that was kind of a small sample of interesting food products from food entrepreneurs. And the interesting thing is, one of the interesting things is these products are very niche-y, very narrow target market, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with a small, successful business. So, Pasta More, for example, pasta with olive oil mixed in it and herbs, very high retail price. Needs to get into the consumer's plate, so to speak, to recognize that this is a really different product, and that periodically maybe people want to serve that as a special treat to family or friends. You got Lauren Donna's with marinated cheeses. I never heard of marinated cheeses. Again, very, very niche product. Maybe difficult to convince a retail buyer to give you shelf space. However, there were lots of people there buying the product and repeat purchases. Vail Hawaiian crispy wafers, another niche product. Probably difficult to articulate to the buyer, let alone to convince them to move stuff in the bakery department to make room for it. But they have a very compelling story with grandfather's recipe, trying to scale that out over a larger business. We're going to do a follow-up on these people because they've got really great personality and presence, which I think is going to get this product into stores, and you might see it in the next year or so. And then we have the cookie company. We've got Noosa yogurts. Again, these are products that might be undifferentiated in a typical supermarket environment, but because they have a certain twist to their product and it's different, having consumer taste it, getting into the consumer's hands first, gives them credibility going back to the buyer, for example. So I hope this is inspiration for all of you food entrepreneurs, that when your product is ready to get out of the kitchen, try the farmer's market route first. It's inexpensive. You get to talk to your customers. You get feedback. You can make changes to the product very inexpensively. When you get enough confidence, then you walk in and you pitch the retail buyer. So thanks a lot, and we'll see everybody soon on About.com Food and Beverage.